everyone.
Hello.
That was so fast.
Quick countdown today.
So let's see if I'm loading on my page. We had some technical issues last week. I didn't end up. Oh, yes, we're live on my page. So we're a go.
Good. I can't tell if we're live on mine, but I did see that we were going live in 3. So
I'm seeing the eyeballs increase. So hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Byron. Hi. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, let me get over there.
I'll introduce you to Amy. Amy, this is Byron. He's a loyal watcher. He's been watching all Amber and Han and I for many years.
Awesome. Well, hello, Byron.
Welcome, everyone.
Are the numbers going up on your end? It's stuck on 9 on my end.
I've got 12. Hi, Donna. Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
So if you want to rewatch the live, you can rewatch it on Facebook or YouTube. We save it and you can rewatch it on any of those platforms. And today we're going to be doing St. Patrick's Day. We're going to touch quickly on St. Patrick's Day since Easter's a bit early this year and we don't want to we want to maximize. That's a much more popular holiday, so we need more focus on that.
More time for that, right?
Yes.
June's here, and I see Tracy and Rebecca.
Thank you, Donna, and hello, Diana, June, Tracy, Pamela, Rebecca. Hello, everyone. So
I'm curious, is June getting a lot of snow?
Oh, she must be in Pennsylvania, I would imagine. June, update us on your snow situation.
We have the best thing showing up right now. I did just get our alerts for YouTube too.
Awesome.
We have 7 days straight of snow forecasted, which never happens here. It's crazy. So, and of course it has to happen on Valentine weekend when people will be trying to get to the shop for their covered strawberries and goodies, right? I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know next week how it turned out.
Hi, Ann. And June's saying 28 inches and more coming.
Remember, Marlyn, last week she had 27. So she's in the snow line for 28 more. She's between us.
Oh my. So I last week had mentioned that I was going to show a picture of our solution here in Quebec for snow, because obviously it's a lot of work. So this is my street right now. I took the picture just before coming on. And so these are tents that go up. So they go up in spring and people just have to shovel the end of their driveway and their car is always free of snow. Here's a different shot of the tent. And that's what it looks like here in Quebec right now. So that's kind of our...
Are you in line for snow next week too?
I didn't check the far forecast, but in our case, because of the pandemic, I'm not going out a whole lot. So I'm not really watching it that much, so...
I try not to watch, but since it's a holiday weekend, my husband was like, you better look at this.
Yes, yes.
I was like, okay, I'll look. And then I was like, it'll be okay. It's going to be fine.
So Allison ventured out to get her baking supplies.
Yes. Hi, Allison. I saw that you were here. Thank you.
Hi, Eleanor. Well, welcome.
Hello.
We're going to get to cookies soon. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Angelica. The tents, yes, I think it's created from laziness. Hello, Bright Eyes. Hello, Tracy.
Oh, you have to tell them what you told me earlier about how they come and cut the snow out on your streets because it doesn't melt in between each of your storms. That's interesting.
Well, every snowstorm, they push the snow to the side of the road, push it to the side of the road, and this road just gets narrower and narrower and narrower. So every couple of weeks, or depending on the snowfall, they come with this huge plow that's like slices. It's chunks of ice at that point, so it has to be really powerful.
Wow.
And they basically saw the sides of the road to re-widen it so that we can actually use them.
Do you have mailboxes at the end of your driveway like we do for your postal
people? Recently, I want to say the last 2 years, got community mailboxes, but before we had them on our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that probably, they keep that clear, but so not so much to worry about every spring with that getting plowed over.
No, no. So Eleanor, welcome. We decorate cookies. We don't really make cookies. The cookies
Right.
are made in advance, and we pretty much talk about decorating cookies. So just a quick, I teach how to decorate cookies. I have a group called the Cookie School, and that's some of the projects. That's Valentine's Day projects. And Amy has kind of all over, lots of business things, Amy.
Right. We have a shop in the downtown historic district of Culpeper, Virginia. So we're operating a little bit different, obviously, due to the pandemic. We're curbside right now. But we do online classes. We have a monthly cookie class here in Culpeper. If anyone wants to join, we do that via Zoom.
And a new product that you're going to launch here.
Yes. I'm so excited. You know, when we had that snow last week, I had to get creative in the kitchen. So we had some requests to make an item that I had really been stalling on making because I didn't want to add anything else to the lineup every day. But I have to tell you, it's a cousin to the sugar cookie, and it's fabulous.
So, are you going to show it, or you're saving it?
Sure. Well, we can. If you want to, we can show it now.
So do you want to show it raw here? You want to do it like you got the controls?
Oh, yeah. Let me do it. I'll go over here real quick. All right, so we have something new coming. You guys, if you're local, you know we only make monster cupcakes. We don't make normal size cakes. Our cupcakes are about 2.5 times the size of what's considered normal. So we call them monster cupcakes. And we are going to be making monster cookies. Look at that thing. It's enormous. The cookie itself is as big as the palm of my hand. And then it's about 1 inch to 1.25 inches tall. That little piece of deliciousness right there is chunked full of chocolate and toasted pecans, which is my husband's favorite cookie. And this is what they look like when they go, before they go into the oven. That's 125 grams of just sheer sweetness right there. And they're delicious. So when we got snowed in on a couple of other recipes, so yeah, I'm so excited about these because they were really good. So they basically get this fabulous crisp outer shell, and then they're still gooey inside, and they're so good. I wish I could ship you some.
Here, did you see there was an emoji that appeared with the mouth open? Debbie seems to be digging your cookie.
Debbie? Yeah, apparently, you know, I'm in a small town, so I'm pretty far out from the city, from the bigger cities around here. So, you know, it's just something that I saw that was out there, and it's been out there for a bit, but we've been measuring like drug dealers. You're hilarious, Jeremy. So we've been stalling on adding anything new, but these are just too good to pass up. I mean, they're incredible. So
if you're going to be locked in your house, you may as well be locked with a tray full of those.
Right? It's so funny.
And your job is so tough to have to experiment and eat all the duds.
No, my neighbors love me. Even with the pandemic, we have a system. I bake things and I put little notes like what I need them to check. And then I drop a goodie bag at their house. I tie it to the mailbox, which is attached to our houses. And then I text them and say, okay, let me know.
That's
so they do test everything.
That's great. So do we get going?
Yeah, let's get going. Do you want to go? Do you want to go first and I'll do controls?
All right. So today I'm going to, I got my different camera set up. Amber uses a camera that I actually have. I own that camera too. I'm going to try to use it like she does because her image is so nice. So today I'm just going to flick it on and let's see here.
You have to someday figure out how to show us what that setup looks like too. I love to see that. Oh, wow.
Oh, the setup. So here are the transfers I wanted to show. So these are basically, a few weeks ago, I had done some royal icing transfer flowers. And we're going to just, basically it's the same thing. If you look at it, it's just a 4-petal, which is a clover, right? A 4-leaf clover. And
so
it's basically
beautiful.
the same thing. So those I made yesterday, and they've had time to dry. And if you've ever made a royal icing transfer, or if you haven't, I should say, they're just a great way to work a little bit in advance. Sometimes, you know, we're a little bit under the time crunch.
Yes.
So I'm just going to quickly make one to show you.
Especially big holidays. We do a lot of royal icing transfers.
Yes, it's just it's one of the few ways that you can work in advance with cookies. You don't want your cookies to go stale. So I work on a piece of parchment paper so that I can lift it off the nail. And I'm just piping here with, I'm making a bigger one than well, it's the biggest ones there. You can make much smaller. This is a 104 piping tip. So it's just 4 petals. I'm just piping, and the piping tip really does most of the heavy lifting. You have to just kind of try it to get acclimated with making flowers and stuff like that.
How
and
beautiful.
So basically that's it. So you're just piping 4 petals instead of, let's say, 5 or 6.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Marlyn, there is a question. I'm going to pop it up. There we go. From Eleanor.
The cookies came out flat. Well, maybe put your dough in the fridge before you bake them, or even I freeze them. So maybe your butter was too warm, like when it went in the oven, and maybe you didn't have enough flour. That could be another issue. And that's it. So you just can, on a quiet night, not when you're making your cookies, you could just crank out a bunch of clovers, or you could actually make flowers. So once you've got all these clovers, what are you going to do with them? So I thought, well, why not pop them in the mane of a unicorn?
Oh, that is so beautiful.
So they're lucky, right?
Right. And unicorns totally fit in with St. Patty's Day, right? With the leprechauns.
Yes, exactly.
And
it's like ties in with rainbows, and you got like all kind of the same type stuff. So for a unicorn, you want to maybe, like, you don't have to use the metallic, but if you get the metallic paint, you want to make sure you get one that's food safe. And here I'm going to start with the horn, and this is a star tip, and you want to use a star tip that's kind of sized to your cookie. You don't want to have a giant star tip if you have a cookie that's kind of small.
Hello, Argentina. And also someone else just popped on. I'm going to show you Jeremy's comment. Jeremy, you should just start using it.
Oh, well, I mean, no one's, it's very, you're safe in your kitchen. No one's going to do anything. You can try it.
Even the mess ups turn out good, right? Even when you're trying to pipe a flower, maybe you get a different flower, but so worth it.
So now I'm doing the horn, and what I do for the horn, I'm doing a circular motion, and the line that gets hidden underneath actually helps build volume to create some roundness on that horn, as opposed to going zigzag. Then it would be laying very, very flat.
Would you say that's a toothpaste consistency, maybe a 20-second?
Yeah, you need it to hold those spikes. And next I've got some
Hello, Hawaii.
Dusty Rose. Dusty Rose, and I'm just adding here like a tear shape to create a little bit of pink in the ear. And I'm going to fill the whole rest. Now, if we look at my kind of like earlier version here, just to show you that I made in advance, it's got a bit of like a chin there, and that's a line that's added and let to dry, and then you fill the rest. But now, because we're live, I'm just going to fill the whole thing. I'm not going to fiddle with letting that dry, but that's what does that. So you need to do the line, and then...
Can you see Jeremy's?
Not safe in his kitchen?
No, he said the kids are vultures and my wife is merciless. That means they want to try what you're making, so that's good. That's very good. Oh, and you have a question. Let's see. Any particular containers to store flowers, icing transfers that are food safe? They can pretty much use any container that is normally used for food, like Tupperware or Rubbermaid.
Well, if I can just mention, though, so let's say you do make the transfers and you've got moisture in there, like, you know, like the transfers are not completely dry, and then you put them in an airtight container. Yep. Well, they can get moldy, right? Because there's moisture in there.
So how long should they leave them out?
Well, I just want to say, like, depending on your climate, right, there could be like moisture that you don't even kind of like detect. So you want to maybe add those food safe silica packs, you know?
That's what I do.
Just that's helpful. So now just I want to jump to my cookie here. You can see my icing is thick. I work in a rather thick icing just so that my cookie icing doesn't dry flat. So the runnier your icing is, the flatter it dries to the cookie and the more matte a surface you're going to get. So your icing isn't as shiny when you're working with super runny icing. And it does require more fiddling. But right now, I just don't want my unicorn to look like it's basically, I compare it to varnish. So it's like you're varnishing the cookie. If the icing is super runny, it needs to be outlined because it can't hold itself on the cookie. It's like water, you know?
Right. I love how you did that ear. The ear looks beautiful like that.
Well, it gives it a little bit more something. And you see here without the chin, the head looks a little bit less, I want to say, realistic. You know, it's like just a big mass.
Right.
But, and you see just that agitation is all that's needed to get the surface to kind of heal.
I think people get nervous to do the cookies, like especially unicorn cookies because of the little details, but you see how simple she just made that ear.
And then here, I'm using an 8mm pearl, and you can mix up black icing. Personally, I don't like, it's just so much easier to use the pearl. You want to really smush it in there so that it looks like it's inset in the eye. If you leave it on the outside of the icing, well, it looks like he's got, you know, he's a little bit of a scary unicorn.
Right. It gets got out.
You want to have an inset eye. And now,
oh, tell them which eyes you use, because this is a problem I had with the color bleeding, remember?
Yeah, this is How Sweet Is That is a cake supply store, and she buys these, I guess, in bulk and packages them and resells them. So I think it's like just her brand that she's found. And now I'm just adding some petal dust, and that's like edible pigment, to the end of the nose. And if you've ever seen a white horse, they have, like, depending on how white they are, sometimes they'll have a bit of like a pinkish color to their nose.
Right.
I'm just dusting that lightly to give him a little bit more, you know, cuteness. So it's completely optional. I wouldn't do a whole pink nose in icing. This is a really like faint touch, you know? And you don't do this on wet icing. Like, this is dried overnight. And I did add the gold before I added the white there. Because if you want to be sure to not get gold on your white, you spray it before the white is on, or else you're going to get it everywhere.
So you airbrushed your gold?
No, that's actually that pump spray stuff.
Oh, okay.
And now I've got a fine marker, and I'm just adding some little lashes to the eye. Again, optional. These are every little detail, you know. It's like another gadget that you have to get. This is the finest marker on the market that I found.
Right.
It's not food. It's non-toxic, this one, but you see how much I'm adding. I mean, it's, you know. And then I wasn't sure. What do you think of the smile? I wasn't sure if I liked the smile.
Oh, I kind of like that. And
yeah,
and with the nose, you can really see it.
So you can kind of like, you know, take it all the way down, and then it's up to you if you want to do a smile.
Give it the little smile crevice in the cheek there. It's cute.
But I wouldn't do this in black
icing.
It would be too harsh.
Yeah.
It would be like too much, you know. And then I did add with a small piping tip, a white icing, on top of that pink dust, a little nostril. And I thought it added to the realism of the face. So it's just basically right here, a little tiny tear shape, like tiny.
And what color is that in?
It's the white. It's the
white.
exact same color, but because it's pink,
right,
it shows up a little bit more here. You can see it right there.
Beautiful. And
now I'm grabbing my, so star tips, there's two versions, a closed star and an open star. And now my icing is going to come out okay. So now I'm using I kind of marbled the icing in here.
Oh, so
pink and blue. And that'll make the purple. The pink and blue will make the purple. And I'm just going to take strands and kind of drape them on the white section and fill. So here I want to hide that seam between the horn and the head. I'm working upside down, so it's a bit weird for me, but.
Rebecca, we're going to come back to your question in a second as soon as we watch this part.
So you just want to, you know, fill in your area. So here 2's enough, I think. And I'm just going to work on the outside here to fill my unicorn kind of main area. And I'm working from the back and then slowly adding strands. And you want to try to like layer them so that they look separate, you know?
So pretty. And did you say, can you tell them which star tip that is again?
Then this is actually a PME, and their number system is different than, let's say, Wilton.
Okay.
So this number is a 43.
And you said that was an open star tip?
It's an open star tip. So now while this is wet, you need to do it while it's wet. I'm peeling off my little clover and I'm smushing it in the wet icing.
Oh, so pretty.
Just like that. And if you have, I don't have that, but the little stars, you know, those little kind of, you know, the stars I'm talking about that are really delicate?
Yes.
Add a few of those.
Wilton has those little gold metallic ones. They're beautiful.
And yeah, it's just like a cute option as opposed to the, you know, the St. Patrick's Day is not so pretty, I want to say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like more, like this is a prettier version.
It's a great addition to keep the coloring in your icing light too. That would be perfect with the traditional sets, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you could package them with some rainbow licorice straps.
So we do have one question. Let me flip up here for you. Rebecca would like to know about the marker. I think that was a Tweets marker, but I'm not sure.
It is. It's Tweets, Cookie Connection, and it is non-toxic, not food. Like it's there's 2 kinds of like grading, right? So non-toxic and fully edible. So non-toxic means it's not going to poison you. But I'm adding such a small amount, and nothing writes as small and as finely as this particular marker. And so that's why I do use it. And I'm not coloring like, you know, like I would, let's say, with my AmeriColor. I have colored like areas with a black, you know?
Right. And Jeremy is saying in a second, you're going to call this simple.
Well, technically it was. I mean, it was a swirl in a star tip, and then I basically just filled this in white, and then it was just a few strands of like it's, I know it's, once it's done, you look at it and you say, huh? But it technically isn't so bad. So this is basically, I just want to quickly show for Friday, because I'm on live on Fridays with Amber and Hanielas. And I'm going to be using a candy corn to do something a little bit more really St. Patrick's Day-ish. So I still have a couple of minutes. I'm just going to quickly make my royal icing transfers for Friday. And I'm using Dusty Rose to make his nose. And I just added this template to the group if you want. And so I do have, he's holding a little heart. So you could do a Valentine's Day version, and I forget what the pun is. Do you remember, Amy, for Valentine's Day? Gnomes.
There's no one like you.
That's it. There's no one like you. And so here you've got your template behind. I'm working on parchment paper again, just so that it detaches easily.
June loves your gnome. I love that you're using the candy corn shape. That's one of my favorite. I know, Jeremy, right? The candy corn, there's nothing that cutter can't do.
Oh my gosh, yes. And so you want to, when you're going to make royal icing transfers, always double check your size. Lay the cutter on the printed sheet to make sure that you're going to be making transfers the right size, because you don't want to make a whole bunch of transfers all to find out that you needed to print maybe 5-10% bigger or smaller. You see? So this is the cutter, you know, you want to double check.
And Kathy is laughing. She's saying you're not using a jelly bean for the nose.
Well, I want to use a jelly bean for the nose, but I'm trying to hold back for those of you that maybe can't get a jelly bean. because I want to use chocolate jelly beans or coffee jelly beans for the feet. But I'm going to do it in icing.
That would taste so good too.
Yes, and so I'm doing the feet here, and they're basically these are truly jelly beans. Like the nose is a bit bigger, but these are like jelly beans for sure. And again, the icing is a bit fiddly to go back and heal because it's on the thick side. But this is how you get transfers that are voluminous. Would that be the word?
Yeah, probably.
You know, like that have some bulk to
that
them.
height, right? And Rebecca's asking if you could tell her, I think you mentioned it, but tell us again where you can get that transfer sheet.
It's in the group. It's in the Cookie School group. I just loaded it before we went live. I added it to Patreon and the Facebook group. So I have a paid Cookie School group, and all the templates and good stuff is hidden in there. And now we're going to work on so I did just a 3-leaf clover because he's not that lucky.
I'll make 4-leaf clovers, so we'll balance out there.
He hasn't found one yet. So this is, you're just doing a dot and pulling towards to the center, and you're doing that 3 times. So you see it's just a tear shape.
I love how that looks.
Pulling, and then here I'm pulling out, and there it is, as fast as that.
Let's see. June has a question. She's wondering if you use regular Procreate for designing any special pen.
So I'm using my tablet with my Apple Pen. So I'm drawing on my iPad, and I'm using that pen, that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to do the clover a little bit, and then let it dry, just not overnight, a little bit, so that when you add your little hands holding it, that they're a little bit looking separate, that they don't look like just a big mass. So that's it.
Let's see. Your next comment is, looking at this gnome, wondering, has anyone ever used royal icing on chocolate instead of a cookie? I do that all the time.
Oh,
I make the transfers and put them on top of my chocolate peanut butter balls when the chocolate right after I dip the peanut butter balls. So these they hold up
so fast and make and then when your time comes, you can add these finished decorations, and it really cuts the decorating time dramatically.
That's so nice. Your icing is perfect. It's leaving just nice balance between each of your petals.
So since we're live here, I'm just going to add the little hand, you see? So here it's the same icing as the nose, and I'm just adding these little hands on either side. So when I add this to the cookie, it's going to be very up from the base, It's going to look really kind of separate. And I just want to show these. I made some clovers before. I'll just switch, and then it'll be all you. So I just want to show, I coated some in sanding sugar. So these were made earlier, but you see I sprinkled them with sanding sugar, and look at how pretty they are.
They look gorgeous.
These.
Yes.
So just basically the icing is wet, and you sprinkle them, and they just look like little edible kind of jewelry. And the sanding sugar is really not bad to bite into. Some of the stuff goes, it's not great to bite into.
Especially if you get the fine sanding sugar, right? Not the heavier grain. That the fine is it's like it's not there.
Exactly, but it adds all the shine. It's very pretty, And this would work on a chocolate covered Oreo or whatever.
Absolutely.
And you could make them in gold and spray them gold if you wanted.
That would be beautiful, and you wouldn't have to hand paint. Oh, exactly. June is saying you should put the sparkly ones. I think she's saying the sparkly ones on the unicorn.
I didn't, because they were too big. I made them too big, and that's why I didn't opt to put them on the unicorn, because they were here, I'll show the unicorn here. Look, it's just so big with regards to the size of the unicorn, So it didn't. Pretty. And you want to, if you've made them, your transfers with sanding sugar, you want to dust them off a little bit so that you don't end up with a lot here. I'm getting, see all the grain particles?
Right.
so that you don't get that in your icing, especially if you're, let's say, working in something white, then you're stuck with all this green spots.
Right. That looks beautiful.
If you do get particles in your icing, the best, easiest thing is to just push them in. Don't try to lift them out.
Just use your scribe and tuck them under and hide that. Hey, hands here.
Hello, hello. Well, make them smaller. I will. I'll get it together for next time. I'll get it together.
June, I suspect that's why she reminded us to put our cookie cutter over our transfer sheets.
That's exactly it. So that's it. So that's the unicorn, lucky unicorn, and the transfer template. I also added the sheet with the clovers in the group as well. So this is there if you want that.
Nice. When I'm on, you'll put your link up, right, so they can go to the cookie school, because it's a great deal, you guys. There is so much content in there. I belong to that cookie school and have for over a year. She is constantly adding multiple projects. It seems like lately you've been adding 2 or 3 projects every day.
Well, not every day, but the thing is let's be honest, I'm all like, cookie decorating is my sanity. So I'm doing it also because I enjoy it. And, so I do add a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy, making it.
And
so now
if you
we
are
better get started with yours, Amy, because you've got a lot of stuff.
Well, we're going to pick. I'm going to let them pick. Let me flip my camera real quick. But on that cookie school, you guys, what's really nice is Marlyn also has all the info in there. She teaches you how to cut. What am I trying to say, Marlyn, with the silhouette?
Oh, to cut stencils.
Yeah, she will do stencils, so you can make stencil swipes. So you can make your own sprinkles if you're having trouble getting a hold of sprinkles, which I think is fabulous. And then you can also do a lot of airbrushing with Marlyn. She's a fantastic airbrush teacher. All right, let's see. There we go. Are we good now? You got my...
Yeah, we can see them.
All right. So you won't see me, but you're going to see cookies. And I have several things sketched. And I thought we would, if somebody wants to pick a jumping off point, I made a lot of 4-leaf clovers for today. I think I would like to try to do the one... I tried to think about this for you guys from the store aspect today specifically, right? I could do one cookie and I could take 30 minutes and show you how to make something super elaborate, but it's going to come, St. Patrick's Day is going to come super fast, and then we're going to be right to Easter. So I thought today that I would show you some things that you can get a big bang for your buck on the visual side. So I'm going to show you how to do some things fast, if that's okay. And I will be using some candies and some embellishments. So sound good to you, Mar?
Sounds amazing. So just I want to mention to everybody, if you want to rewatch any part of the live, they're saved on Facebook and YouTube. And a little bit about Amy, she has a cookie shop. So she's familiar with the time crunch required to be profitable.
Oh, so yeah. Can I ask them to vote for me?
I'm sorry, what do you want?
Can I ask them to vote for me? If you go to my Facebook page, you guys, I'm up for a local hometown contest for best bakery, sweet shop, and customer service. But if you will go over there at some point, we'll flash the thing up with a little QR reader that'll take you right to my store. But there's a post up there. I would love it if you would take time to vote for me.
That helps your business. I guess the reviews, right? People want to know if you're well reviewed.
Absolutely. It helps. Every little bit like that when you're in a small town helps. So guys, I'm just going to jump in, and I'll be decorating, ask questions. Marlyn will answer. I'm going to try to stay centered here. And what I'm doing right now is just creating a basic outline. And we're going to have the same discussion we probably have every week. And some of you are going to be for the school of go right to the edge of the cookie. I'm school, leave a little cookie outline, just because I like for people to visually identify that it's a cookie. So I think it adds a little something to your art. And basically what I'm doing right here is I am just giving a touchdown, lifting up. I'm about 1/8 inch off the cookie, and I'm giving myself a little outline. By the time I get all the way around the cookie, I'm going to be able to go back and flood this right away. And I'm going to show you just a very basic wet on wet technique. If I were doing a bunch of these in the store, I would be using my cookie turntable, but I tend to start pushing that all around my work area. Now, just keep in mind where I sketched on my cookie. Do you see the 3 lines? We're going to come back to that. I'm going to just quickly flood this in. I'm using the same consistency icing. It's about 20 seconds. But this is the one that looks the most like an actual Clover. The other reason, guys, that I'm team leave a little bit of cookie edge is because I don't like for my icing to run off my cookie. It's a lot of time to be picking these cookies up and down and scraping. And when you're doing a wet on wet, you're basically flooding your entire cookie, and then you're still adding a little bit more icing. So I like to leave that edge so it has a little room to expand on its own if it needs to. I did sketch this one. If I was doing this in the store, I would not sketch this. I just wanted you guys to see what's coming, okay? But if you have, there's so many different kinds of Clover. And this kind of Clover, this design I'm doing on here actually looks like one of the most common kinds of Clover. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of it, but it has that really cool feathery look. Also, I'm not waiting in between my segments on this cookie. This is a fast cookie. So I'm flooding the whole thing, okay? I have a lighter shade of my exact same green. I just thinned it out by adding white. I'm clearing my bag off to the side. That can be another problem for a lot of new cookiers. They don't realize how important it is to purge the tip of the bag every time. And I'm going to do a little bit of an arc on each of these, just like where I had those little lines sketched, okay? See that? And I'm doing it right on top of my green. But that common type of Clover that's so pretty in the springtime, you know how all the greens are just so beautiful in spring? They're very different than the green as the leaves and flowers mature over the next 3 months and we go into summer. You know how those all change. Spring green is so beautiful and it's cheerful. So we're just making these little arcs and we're letting that wet on wet settle down into the cookie. Now I'm just going to give it a little shake with my scribe. All right. Well, actually, I'm probably just going to shake it right here on the table for you guys so you can see it. Can you see that? So what it's doing is it's letting that settle down. And then I have a paper towel, just a normal paper towel, nothing fancy, off to the side. And I'm going to be taking my scribe and I'm going to barely touch down in the dark green icing. And I'm going to pull through, always going from the outside of the cookie to the center, where these leaves would all actually join up to create that really pretty feather look. So this is a cookie. You can do a lot of them and you can do them really fast, but they've got really good visual appeal. So there's some cookies that you want to spend a lot of time on, right? Like every set should have something that's really a feature cookie, just super fantastic. And then you should have cookies that look like they were really hard to do, but they were fast, right? Because you can't have 12 feature cookies typically and get what you need to get for those cookies. It's difficult, right? So you always want to make something super pleasing for everybody. But look, let me give it a little shake to heal it up over here. Got this little area where I went down just a little far, and that'll happen if you touch down to the cookie. It'll just take a little more time to come back together, but look how pretty and
Beautiful.
So simple, right?
Alyssa wants to know your outline consistency.
It's the same icing. I use a 20-second and I tend to outline and flood in the same icing. Now, typically I see people fill in the entire area of this for the stem of the Clover. I actually prefer something smaller, but you guys do what you want to do. Okay. I'm totally okay if you like to do that. I like to make it a little thicker at the bottom just to make it a little more visually appealing and a little skinnier as it attaches to the Clover. And again, for me, this just really points out that we are working on a piece of edible art. It is a cookie. So another thing you can do here if you want, I'm not going to do it because we're going to move on, but you see how it's kind of chubby at the bottom and then it gets real skinny. So you get another level of dimension here. You can also go back and add an outline in that lighter green if you want to have a highlight. You can just right where the light is naturally hitting the cookie, you could do the same thing with the light green, okay? And I saw somebody's broccoli comment. You totally could do broccoli with this. It would be beautiful. And Jeremy,
I'm just going to interrupt you, Amy, because I saw that it didn't post to my page again. I just want to mention, if you want to rewatch the first portion of the video where I'm decorating, you can rewatch the live after Amy is done. When we're done, it gets reloaded to a playlist, because I just shared from your page to mine, Amy.
Okay. All right. And Jeremy says he feels attacked because you're both sitting in snow. But Jeremy, can you see my weather forecast for the next 7 days? I haven't seen this in 20 years. 7 days of snow, my whole town will shut down. I will keep you informed next week as to what actually happens, because if this happens, it's going to be quite something.
So Alyssa, icing usually 24 hours your icing needs to dry before you want to stack and package.
Oh, and someone asked me this over the weekend. They had just gotten a dehydrator, so they thought they were okay to put their wet cookies in the dehydrator and shut the door. But that's basically like closing it in a container, and they didn't set up. So if you are going to put them in your dehydrator, make sure you leave the door off. They need airflow for that initial setup. What do you guys think about this design? Do you want to see this cute one? Just kind of.
I'm presuming it's a yes.
Okay, I'm going to go with it, and you just let me know. I'm sketched it so you can see a basic outline, okay? So we're just going to go around the cookie. You'll be able to go back and pause the video if you want to see what the markings were for. Oh, and I went a little over the black line there, so I'm just going to push that out a little.
If I can give a little tip.
Yes,
if you're a beginner and you don't want a black marker line to show, well, you can use your green marker to add your guidelines.
Yes.
So then if the line's showing, well, it just kind of looks like a shadow. So you can.
And I should have told you that my red and my green are dead from Christmas, and I have not reordered. So I only have black.
Well, for the live, a black line is what's best for people to see, the audience to see. But I'm saying in real world.
Yes. Right? Yes, absolutely. And I actually, when I do have to sketch for the store, I usually sketch in yellow.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
I try to hide.
Jeremy does that as well.
He does yellow too?
He does yellow as well, yes.
Yeah, it'll cover a multitude of mistakes, right? You hardly ever see it. It just looks like butter bleed on the cookie.
Well, I use my orange one because really, who uses an orange marker? And so it's kind of the only way to use it up, because you're paying for it. It's in the package.
Right.
But who uses orange is not a color that really gets much, it's Halloween, and that's about it.
Right. And then it's over. I hope you guys can see this okay, right? I'm trying to hold my bag out of frame as much as possible. Okay, so now we're going to come back to that really cool design, just a lighter shade of the same green, okay? And this is really fun, especially if you're working on a turntable. This is really fun to do. So I start in the center, in the very center, and I'm going to do a wet on wet technique. And I just about 1/8 of an inch in on my icing. I make my cool little point there, come back up. I do part of this, and then we jump 1, 2, 3, right? And that's going to settle in. I'm going to keep going. So I just do that basic outline. I make my little divot at my heart. I come back up. I wrap the second point of my clover, and then we jump, jump, jump. And it's such a beautiful cookie. It almost looks like a pinwheel. I actually got the idea from pinwheel cookies that I did for somebody's birthday last summer. But I love, I'm never quite willing to give up Valentine's Day. So I saw hearts. I was still seeing hearts when I did my sketches for these for today, right? So just a basic.
It is like the Valentine's Day designs, the heart cookie cutter and all the colors. It is very, very nice.
So pretty, right? Yeah. So look, I'm not even having to touch the cookie. I'm going to give it a little shake. And I'm going to join these lines up here in the center. Just a little bit of extra so that you have that full spin. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to make that cute little stem again. Right here. I'm going to put in the dark green, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one for you just so you can see it.
And if you guys have never considered or thought about it, after Christmas, it's a great time to stock up on liquidation red ribbon, anything basically, you know, silver, gold, even red, to use for Valentine's Day, because, you know, all that stuff is just really goes in the garbage, right? Ribbon,
Yes.
all that, but it's very expensive.
And given our circumstances this year with getting packaging and things in, I really wish I'd stocked up on even more extra Valentine things last year. So guys, you're right here with this point. Do you see this little bit here in the center? Okay, I like to go into the center here, and I just like to give it a tiny swirl. That's it. And so you've got another cookie. You've got a lot of motion. So you've got two, right? Very different looking 4-leaf clovers, but great in your set. Now, how about we do an outline one really quick, Marlyn, before we go on to the leprechaun shoe? We'll because I want to put some sparkly sugar. Is that okay with everybody?
I'm again assuming that it's a yes.
No one's asked for anything special, right?
No, they're just watching.
All right. Well, we're going to fill this. Another way to get something fancy looking in the store when you're having to do a lot of these, another thing that you can do is you want to make sure that you're moving quickly on each cookie, right? You don't want a lot of multiple days of drying and multiple days of steps. So something that's really super handy is being able to add that sanding sugar. So I basically took my 4-leaf clover and I divided my leaves to the natural line, since they do have that heart shape. And I am outlining and flooding. You don't have to, this is also a great one. If you didn't mix your icing up enough ahead of time, right? So that the air bubbles have settled out, because you won't see air bubbles when you do this. So if you're having trouble with your icing and you just can't get those bubbles out, then this is another great thing to do immediately, that you can do in the store and do fast. So on this one, because I'm going to be using the sugar, I'm going to go ahead and put the stem down as well. And then I'm going to pull my little bead tray over that I use to catch the sugar. Well, today I managed to have it out. So guys, we have lots of options. You can use these really cool little nonpareils. Is that how you say it? Is that how you say it, Marlyn?
It's in French, non pareil.
That, what she said. We call them, you can use these itty bitty, they're like 1 millimeter. Or I have this beautiful emerald green sanding sugar, so I'm going to use that, okay? And basically, I'm just going to give it a sprinkle. I'm doing it over this tray. You don't have to have one of these trays, you guys. Use a coffee filter. Use a paper plate that you can fold in half to turn it into a funnel. There's all kinds of things you can do at home to keep it on the cheap as you're getting into this.
Yeah, and a coffee filter works great.
It'll pour right back into here, so no worries. The great thing is I'm going to be able to move right on to doing, I'm just lightly flipping it over, a light tap. But how great is that? I can immediately finish this cookie, right? We're going to move right on to the next color. So we could do the dark green sugar, that the dark green icing that we used underneath here, but I'm going to give it a little more dimension by adding my lighter green color. I'm going to give it a little more interest, I guess, is what I would say. So I'm same consistency icing. It's about a 20-second. I outline and flood in the same icing. And also for this collection of 4-leaf clovers, I kept my color palette super simple. I'll be mixing in some cauldrons. What do they call them? That's what we call them at Halloween, but that's not what you know what I'm talking about, right?
Gold.
Yes, pot of gold. So in the pots of gold, I used a cauldron cutter from Halloween, and I'll be adding gold coins. And I found some really cute gold coin sprinkles at Michael's. So again, something super fast, but it's going to look very fancy.
And again, if you package it with a rainbow licorice strap.
Yes. And if you put that unicorn in here, you're going to have a magical set, right?
Well, I was actually thinking, if you kind of embed the end of the strap in the icing, it looks like it's coming out of the pot of gold, right? The licorice strap.
Yes, like a rainbow. Wouldn't that
And
be so
yeah,
pretty?
and then you could kind of like fold it, you know, like behind, so like the rainbow's kind of like flowing out of the pot, you know?
It'd be beautiful and colorful and quick because you've put a candy. So here we go. We have another multi-dimensional cookie. We've got, and we were able to do the one cookie just going right there.
So Jeremy wants a Yoda cookie now.
Yeah, you know what, you guys? I bought a bunch of cutters that went on sale after Christmas, and I bought that angel cutter, and I am going to do a Yoda cookie. We do that baby. What's it called? What's he called? Amanda. You guys will post it on there. He knows what I'm talking about.
But Jeremy, wouldn't it be cute, the licorice? I think it's like just a nice, like a nice addition.
I think it would be perfect. And you get some extra color and you put in that unicorn. So how about, do we have time to do a leprechaun shoe?
You have 10 minutes. So
Okay.
Lolita, we don't have any licorice straps right now, but if you look it up, rainbow licorice straps, they're a candy that is pretty common.
It's about an inch wide, right? It's flat. It's sanded, like sugar on it, and it looks like a rainbow.
Yeah, they're fun. My kids used to like those when they were young. They're kind of sour, I think.
I think here, I don't know the exact name. Jeremy maybe can help us out, but I think they're like, it's like in the fruit roll-up family.
Yes, exactly.
So this cookie, guys, you saw the outline in case you want to freeze the video. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I just really wanted to have the soul. I like that little detail of adding the edge. So I wanted to have black in this color palette, but I didn't want my whole cookie to be black because I didn't want to risk, you know, the staining that will happen to people's lips and tongue and teeth. But it's nice for small details like this. So this little leprechaun shoe is so sweet. It's a small 3-inch cookie, but you're going to be able to, you're going to see a lot of detail in the cookie. So I think it'll be nice. So this would be the top of his shoe, right? And this would be the part that would be forward. So I'm just going to add a little shadowing right here to be like the inside of the flap that falls over.
I wonder if you could use like a witch shoe. I've not ever seen this leprechaun shoe, but I do have, like, you know, the witch I've seen more.
I don't know why you couldn't. I think it would work perfect. You just have to work out where to put your buckle. So with this is supposed to be the fold over part, like the inside of the shoe, that little bit that I just did. And then you see right here, I have my buckle sketched. So what I'm going to do, actually, I think what I'm going to do to make it faster for us, I'm just going to fill this part in with a black food safe marker, edible ink. I'm going to fill in that part, okay? And we're going to go back immediately with our dark green, our emerald green. Isn't this green pretty? And we're going to come right up next to our black. If we're putting these colors down next to each other when they're both wet, you're going to have a lot less chance for color bleeding or for the colors leaching one into the other, right? Because the reason that happens a lot, first of all, if your icing is too wet, you could experience that quite often if you have too much liquid. But the other reason is if you put a wet icing down next to a dry icing, that dry icing is going to pull liquid into itself. It's just its natural tendency. So given that it does that, if you wait, a day or so and you try to put down like a white icing next to a black or red or green next to white, the colors, they'll be pulling from each other. And when they pull that liquid, they're going to pull a little bit of that coloring. So it's best if you're going to do something with the real dark colors like this, like the green and black are both colors that people tend to express that they have trouble with. It's best to put them down at the same time. Can you guys see this okay? Everybody's all right?
A little higher, Amy.
A little higher? There we go.
A little higher. Perfect.
Okay.
So there was a question with regards to red and tasting bad and bran. So they say no taste red. I personally don't think it's true that it doesn't taste. Red doesn't taste good. So your options are airbrushing, whatever you want to do in red, because then it's less pigment, or using powders. Now they've introduced new lines of food color, which are powder versus gels.
Right.
They're less taste. You know, they have less taste.
I think so too. The powdered ones have less taste than I don't even use the gels to do red anymore. I use the powders.
Yeah.
So guys, we have the outline blacked out here for underneath our buckle, and we're going to come in. I don't know. I don't
So
know
is that
whatever
marker, that hole.
this we just made with our, I used a Chef Master marker, but you can use any black edible ink marker. This one is not just non-toxic, it's FDA approved, food safe. So you're good to go with this. And this one's great. You can get these online on Amazon. Marlyn probably even has them in her shop, but they've got like a brush end that's great for writing. And then they've got this nice point. Although this is probably what, 5 times as big as that beautiful little Tweets marker.
Exactly. It depends what you're doing, you know. Like in some applications, I'll even, if I don't want to mix black and I only need a little bit of it, I'll do whatever in another color and then come in with the marker after my cookies dried overnight and just color in whatever section I needed to have it be black. And
then this is one of my favorite golds. This is by Truly Mad Plastic. So this is a super shiny gold. I like it for little details, but I do always make my customers aware that it's a non-toxic. It's not an FDA approved, but I really like this one. It's just so brilliant. And I like that, especially at St. Patrick's Day, for just little tiny accents. So what I based my, knowing that I'm going to paint that, right? So this cookie's going to take a little bit more time. Knowing that I was going to paint it, I did a gold colored icing for underneath, because then it's not going to show up as much if I don't cover every area with the gold, right? It's going to blend in really well. So then I just put this cute buckle on for a little bit of detail. I'm going right over where my, where the black marker is. I'm just going to use my scribe to pull this in. I'll let this dry. Usually I would pop this in the dehydrator for 10, let it crust so that I don't have to worry about anything, any color bleed or anything. And then I would come back and paint it. And if you feel like the icing's too close to the edge, just use the edge of your boo-boo stick or your scribe and pull just a little bit off, okay? And then it's nice with this, it's worth the time to pull your buckle up so that you have nice points, right? Because it's supposed to look like a buckle. Now, last year, I made all of my buckles as royal icing transfers and then just popped them on the cookie when the cookie was dry.
That's a great time saver, not to mention just the fiddling of painting, right? You don't, you can just kind of throw it on there.
Yes. And then you guys, these are fabulous. I found these also at Michael's. They're just little Shamrock Sprinkles. Can you see those?
So cute.
So I'm just going to put one of those on here as a little logo on his heel.
Are they very hard?
No, they're soft like sweet tarts.
Oh,
they're actually, I always test that because I worry that people maybe won't eat a cookie because it has candy. But I'm super addicted to putting candy on cookies, especially because I have so many, because we make so many cupcakes. So I really like to use everything in multiple areas of the bakery. The other thing that's really nice, you can do these beautiful, do you know how these shoes latch? These are a little big for this, and I forgot to find the little ones, but you know, if you used some little gold nonpareils, you could make some beautiful buttons right down through here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be cute to just add a little detail? And these are soft. If you guys are going to do St. Patrick's Day cookies, this is a great little sprinkle for that, because these come in a bulk bag at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. They're just those little sprinkles that have been painted gold. Yeah,
they're like the confetti.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's just a lot of dimension with just a couple candies and 3 colors. And the shape of the cookie's so cute. And I think this totally would work on the witch shape cookie too. Totally work. Do we have time to do? Oh, we're right at almost in an hour. Do you want me to try to do this?
Well, if you want, we've got time. If they want to drop off, it's they're free. I'm not, you know, we try to get to an hour, but if you can't continue, you just come back and watch later at your leisure.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll finish this one then. The pot of gold.
We all want to see.
I found some great sprinkles this year. So I'm going to be combining my confetti sprinkles, right? And you could make these with a stencil swipe and then airbrush them. So if you're going to be making a lot, you probably want to do that. Also, I will tell you, if you're doing DIY kits, please warn your customers that when they open their little embellishment packets, that it's okay if these have a slight odor. Anything that's been painted like this and closed up, it's going to have an odor. The sprinkle is still fine. It's just because of the nature of the fact that it was painted. And then look at these. Are these so sweet? Look at these little gold coins with shamrocks.
Where are you getting these things? Jeez.
Michael's. I got them at Michael's. Aren't they cute?
Well, Michael's just opened. It's been closed us since Christmas, so
What?
I haven't been. I mean, the only thing I'm kind of holding on to is now everything's going to be on liquidation because they haven't had time to sell their products.
Right. They're going to be in the wrong holiday, so you can really stock up. And I don't know if they're doing that where you are, but here they have curbside too. So that's kind of fun. You can just get online and order all the good stuff, and you don't even have to go in.
I don't know that their site is updated with all their products.
Oh, so I'll pop this in the tray because the first thing I'm going to do, again, I'm teaching today from the aspect of being in the store and moving fast. So you can see every cookie that I've done, I just touched that one cookie, right? So I didn't do like 50 and then had to circle back and wait for things to dry. So this is a great set to do so you can move fast. So on the pot of gold, what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this area. I probably should sketch this. It'll be easier for you. So I know that my handles are here and my little feet are here. So if you want dimension, you can pipe this and let it dry and pipe these at the same time, let them dry, then come back and fill in your cauldron. Then you'll, or pot of gold, sorry. They're pot of gold. And then what you'll get is you'll have automatic dimension, right? Separating that if you want to do that. Now I give it a little curve here, just following the basic outline of where I think the cookie would naturally break. And I'm going to be using this as like places, extra places to place the coins. But to Marlyn's point about using that rainbow, that would be so fabulous to just attach the rainbow here and use this as support and have it come shooting out to where you could curl it under and then attach it. You'd have that full loop right there, which would be beautiful.
I got it online just to show them. See, this is,
that's it.
I mean, it's just like, it's all shined up too. It's got like basically sanding sugar on it. I think it's just, because the pot of gold is black, it's like, it's kind of like a drab design really, right? Like the pot is often black, and then yes, there's gold, but there's not that much going on. I think it would be a way to perk it up a bit.
So it would be beautiful. And if I was going in and shopping, I probably would have looked for that, but I don't have anything left from last year. So it's definitely something that I would add because the color would be so nice. So guys, I'm using another 20-second outline. This is my gold icing. So it's the same icing that I used on my shoe. And I'm just outlining and flooding.
Amy, your hand, we're seeing the top of the bag. So I don't know if you can kind of work a little. Yes. Like
is that better? I filled this bag a little full and I'm used to letting the weight sit on top of my hand instead of over.
Yes, but in video, it's just not.
I know. I got to get it out of the way for you. So normally what I do, guys, is I start with the biggest pieces first and a pair of scissors, not scissors, tweezers. And so I know I want to put some of these really cute big coins on here. So I save room for them at the top. I usually just place them with tweezers so that I don't end up with icing all over myself. I like for my cookie to look really full. And these are, again, another soft sprinkle. They're about the consistency of having, you know, a sweet tart or a candy like that. So I'm going to just do these 4 because after I have piped the pot of gold, once that's dried, the only addition I would come back and do is that I would pipe more gold so it looks like my coins are falling out. So then just to move fast, because we're doing store cookies, I'm going to just sprinkle. Just lightly sprinkle, let some of them land upright, some of them land where they're over the
And those are probably less expensive than your fancier ones.
Yes, this huge bag of these here for $9, a huge bag.
And the other ones,
these were in those packets for $1 a piece.
Yeah, so it's not crazy, but
right, but good for an accent, right?
Yes.
So in the interest of not putting too much candy on there, right? Too many candy pieces that are the consistency of sweet tarts. Then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll use my matching gold sanding sugar. And can you see the sparkle in this one, Marlyn? It's got mica in it.
Yes.
So
That's nice.
that's how I fill the rest of my area. So on first glance at the cookie, the whole cookie looks like it has those fancy pieces because I kept my color scheme monochromatic right there, right?
Well, I
Flip
find
it
it looks
over,
more interesting actually to have
and look how
like,
beautiful.
yeah, the varied thing.
Yes,
So
I
Jeremy
love
wants
it.
to know how you're sealing your bags, your piping bag. I didn't notice what you're doing.
Oh, I have one of those tape machines because I do so many DIY kits.
Oh,
So I give it a good twist, and then I usually put two. I go through the machine twice, and it's so much easier on my hands than tying all the bags. So I do really enjoy that. For the purposes of our video here, guys, I am going to just do one level of flooding, but I did explain to you that you could easily go back and you could pipe the handles and the feet separately to get a little more dimension, but we're just going to do it all at one time.
So I'm watching Amy work and my brain is going. So, another option would be to make chocolate cookies and then
Oh,
just
yes.
basically add the gold to the top, and you could add a few little details to the pot, but then you wouldn't have to maybe decorate that area. Again, it's all about how much time you have.
And also, wouldn't that be great for the people that don't like a fully iced cookie? I have a lot of those people. They
Yeah,
love
and
yeah.
a really nicely baked cookie is beautiful.
Right.
A bare cookie is not ugly, like.
Now this, you guys, this would be more of a feature cookie, just like the unicorn would be more of a feature cookie. And the reason being is because this cookie
Amy, tilt your bag.
Oh, sorry. Let me go this way. I must have overfilled all of these today.
So are you making any St. Patrick's Day for your shop?
I will. We'll probably do a couple dozen, maybe 3-4 dozen of these. It's not a big holiday,
Yeah.
but we do have some Irish in our area and they like to have these. So I do plan to do these. And the kids, this is one of the kids' favorite DIY kits. There's something about all these candy bits and bobs that they absolutely love. So for sure, I'll offer DIY kits again this year. So, and guys, the other thing, just keep in mind, if you're a beginner cookier, a lot of times your biggest mistake is that you aren't using enough icing. Look, I'm so afraid I'm going to stick my hand in that. Let me come over. Can you still see me right there? You have to make sure you do that nice outline to hold back your other icing and then flood and make sure there's enough in there. That little bit of extra that you're actually putting on the cookie is not going to make it so sweet that someone won't enjoy the cookie, but it makes all the difference for the finished texture. Now, we're not going to be able to do it today, but I'm going to show you a quick trick. If this cookie were like this, I could pop it in the dehydrator for 10 minutes. I don't run my dehydrator any higher than 105. But I could pop this in the dehydrator, get a little bit of crust on it, and then there's all kinds of ways that you could texture this pot. So this is just a little tiny square, 2 inches by 2 inches cut out of shelf liner that I washed and sanitized, just like I do all of my items that I bake with, but it has a great texture. If you take this and just wrap your finger, just this little bit, then you can come back in about 10 minutes of having a fan on this where it's slightly crusted, and you could give this pot texture and you're done. The whole thing's done. Now, normally for my feature cookie like this, I would go back and I would texture this. And as soon as I finish doing that texture, I would add, I'm going to try to do this where you can see it. I would add just a little bit of spillover right here, the tiniest little bit, and loop it back up here. Put one more feature sprinkle right here, but obviously this has to be done, right? I would do it in gold, and then I would just sprinkle on the tiniest bit of sugar using my fingers to roll it over the cookie. That way, if it hits the black, no big deal, right? To keep it very controlled. But then look at how cute this set would be. And if we put in that beautiful, unicorn and we added the rainbow candy to this, you have a gorgeous set.
Well, I think I know I'm harping on that strap, but it's just to add a little punch of color, right? Because there's a lot of dark, right?
Yes, I think so. I think you absolutely need it. And it would be also really pretty if you were doing a kid set to use those kid sets on your Clover. As long as you have a Clover in your set that it's very obvious that you're making 4-leaf clovers or 3-leaf clovers, you could definitely play around with the color palette, don't you think?
Absolutely. And
And
I'm
then-
looking at your pot of gold. All I'm seeing is a bathtub with bubbles and feet having feet like sticking out, you know, like having a.
You totally could do this for a spa cookie too. And then look, guys, this was something we did last year when we had more of these fancy sprinkles.
Nice. Yeah.
They're limited, but this is another way to tie all of your cookies together. Just a little accent in the center. And also, actually, I was thinking when I saw the Clover that Marlyn made, if you did small transfers, you could certainly come back and do centers on these with those transfers that you made. That would be beautiful too. Yes. And then come back and add a little gold right there.
What did you say?
Come back and add just a little bit of gold with your TMP to make that match your little buttons on your shoes.
Super cute.
I'm going to flip back to regular. Is that good? You guys like these?
Yeah.
Right, let me flip back over so we can chat for a second.
So if you've just joined us, you can rewatch the live on the replay. It's saved in the playlist, so you can rewatch it.
Hi, I'm back. And, did I miss any questions? Are we good?
I think I kept pretty much up to date on it.
Well, if you guys make any of these, make sure you tag our pages because we love to see what you're creating. It's so nice to see where you take something and run to with it.
Well, that's the thing on Patreon. The people that are in my group on Patreon can't really post their own photos in Patreon. On Facebook in the Cookie School, everybody can post their photos, and I like everybody can kind of interact a little bit more. You know, the ladies help each other.
And don't forget your sparkle, right?
Yes, I'm
going to add some sparkle to my cauldron, and then I'll hold it up for you. I just love the sparkle.
And where is it that I see? The comment is gone. Somebody was suggesting some Twix or something. I guess there's chocolates that can be used for
our little sparkle we just added.
Super cute.
So cute, right? I love that.
Renee's loving your sprinkle wall. And she's saying very nice. Great job, Amy, Rebecca.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. This is so much fun to have you on here every week. And I hope it's breaking the pandemic blues. That was our goal, right? Spread some cookie joy and break the blues.
The thing is like we spread it to you guys, and then you guys can bake cookies and spread it and have it. I mean, it's just a cookie. I don't know. There's something about decorated cookies. When people receive them, they really make people happy.
I think so too. And they know they're getting an item that's had a lot of time spent on it. And people do appreciate that, especially when you're making for family and friends and for special occasions. I mean, how special is it that somebody invites you into their special occasion by creating cookies or cake or cupcake? Like just that in and of itself, you're in all the family events. It's really nice.
Yes, well, in your case, like I remember when I used to take orders, and that's the case now. I mean, you know everything that's happening. You know the wedding, you know the baptism, you know the birthdays, you know everything.
So it's nice, right? When we get an engagement order, then I just immediately give them the wedding information and the baby shower information, right? So we know.
Well, Jeremy, don't cough on your cookies before you give them away.
The only thing we want to spread during the pandemic is cookie joy. That's it. That's all we're going to be held responsible for. Oh.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. So I'm on Friday with Canellas.
What are you guys doing? What are you and Hannah and Amber doing?
I don't know if Amber's going to follow through. She was going to open her airbrush for the first time and make herself quite vulnerable to us by practicing or discovering airbrush for the first time. And I'm going to make that gnome that I showed the little kind of royal icing transfers. So I'm going to finalize the gnome. So I actually have to roll out those cookies this week.
Nice. It'll be nice to see someone break out the airbrush the first time, right? I watched a lot of videos before I was brave enough. You actually turned me on to that beautiful wireless one.
Yes.
Right, the cordless. That's what I was trying to think of. I love that. I ordered it, but it sat here for forever before I used it because I was afraid I would mess it up. And so then I just started looking for videos of people that had never used it before and they were unboxing. And I went from there and I love it. You can add so much to the cookies with just that little bit.
Well, I mean, you start on a piece of paper and you don't worry about, you say, oh, I'm going to waste my cookies. You just do it on paper and then you don't have to worry about it.
Right. But we just became enablers too, because as soon as they start airbrushing, we just opened up the world of stencils. So,
Exactly.
Right. So we don't want, we want to encourage you to go lightly and join the cookie school and learn how to make those. Because if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, you can make them easy.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Amy. That was fun.
Thank you. I'm so glad we got to work in St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. Well, the thing is, I mean, we should touch it a little bit. Like,
Right.
I'll do it on Friday with Amber, and then I think we're all going to jump right to Easter and spring.
Awesome.
Since, we could all use a little bit of that.
Yes, and bright colors. I'm going to be going all nice bright colors for spring.
Here, Allison, she's got a new airbrush. Don't be scared.
No, if we could meet in person, Allison would have already had that airbrush going.
Open, yes.
But not until I get my parklet back out front. When I get my parklet back and we can space everybody out, then I told her I would definitely do an airbrush class live for her.
That's great.
It's so much fun.
It is. I mean, it's just kind of our way to interact, right? I mean, we're all in this craziness together. So
yes, and we're going to have to wait and see how long it goes on, right? At this point. So we'll be making cookies the whole time though. So you can just come see us every week.
Angie, I think you're in the cookie school group. There are several videos with regards to the paint to cookies in the group if you want to check those out.
And you know what's so nice? Once they use their airbrush, you can, I think in the cookie school, I'm pretty sure it's in there where you show them how to airbrush the cookie palettes, like to make your own.
Yes, yes. Well, that's how I kind of invented the concept when I first came up with it back in the day.
Yes. And if you don't know, Marlyn is the original creator of that PYO. So you can learn a lot about how to put that together. I'm getting my gold ready. That's why I'm looking down. I'm going to finish these and post you guys a picture. Awesome.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday for more therapy, and on Friday for a cookie lunch break. So
yes, thank you. Thanks, Marlyn.
Bye, Amy.
Bye.